The Trump administration is dealt another setback in court. A federal judge is blocking the deportation of hundreds of children back home to Guatemala. And the early morning hours on Sunday, the Trump administration loaded planes with children who had arrived in the U.S. unaccompanied and are believed to not have a parent here. At least one flight was already en route to Guatemala when the judge ordered it to turn around. This is the latest standoff between the administration and a federal judge. Let's discuss all of this with CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson. Joey, thanks for sharing your holiday with us. So the judge in this case has told the Justice Department to prove its claim that the parents, children's parents, or legal guardians requested their return to Guatemala. Is that a decisive factor in this case?
So I think it's very important, Pamela, good to be with you. You know, there's a distinction between someone wanting to repatriate, that is, go back to their home country, and there's an agreement. And we know that the Homeland Security Secretary certainly met with Guatemalan officials about that. But there's a distinction between that and just rounding up people and getting them out on a plane. Do they want to go? Are they afforded certain protections? Have they spoken with their lawyer? Were they given notice and the right to be heard? And so absolutely, there's a huge gap between just saying, hey, we're just sending them back to reunite with their parents, than that factually being so. And you know, certainly people who are suing on behalf of the children have every right to question and be skeptical about the claim that we're just taking them back so they could reunite with their parents where they belong. They believe that as officials who sued on behalf of these children, that is not true, particularly in all circumstances.
Right. And attorneys for some of the children say that they didn't get their due process rights to go before a judge and really talk about what it would mean for them to be sent back to Guatemala. Now, the Trump administration, for its part, says, as you point out, this is not so much a case of deporting these children, but instead reunited them with family members in Guatemala. And White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller had this to say on social media, quote, "The judge is effectively kidnapping these migrant children and refusing to let them return home to their parents in their home country," end quote. Is that a fair portrayal?
So it really isn't, and it's really tiresome when there are attacks on judges who are merely doing their job. You know, say what you want and take whatever position you want on immigration, Pamela. The United States foundationally is a country of laws. That is, you follow the law. It's a country wherein you're entitled to due process, as you noted. What is due process? It's notice and an opportunity to be heard. Perhaps the children should be deported, but before they are, should they not, as law requires, be entitled to a lawyer? Should they not, as the law required, be entitled to state any claims they have in court as to whether they should? Should they not, as the law certainly would require, say, hey, I don't want to go, and by the way, I'm protected by various federal statutes that allow me to apply for asylum, that allow me to assert the fact that I feel that I'm being persecuted in my home country. So we can attack judges all day and all night. That seems to be a persistent theme when this administration doesn't get their way. But again, whatever you might say about immigration, should we not be a foundational country, right, which really entitles everyone to the protection they deserve? And all this judge is saying is that slow your roll. Let's have a hearing. Let's determine whether or not these are lawful deportations. And let's not be doing this in the middle of a holiday weekend where we're loading people on planes in the dead of night such that people don't get the opportunity to go to court. And I think going to court and asserting your legal protections, Pamela, is a pretty important thing.
Joey Jackson, thank you so much. That really is foundational for this democracy, right?